Alright guys, and now we are back with the showdown between the dinosaurs who shall be helmed by the Blueberry Slan, and the Dark Elves who are going to be led by Malekith the Witch King atop his mighty black dragon. So here we are with the dreaded double Ancient Salamander build, and I feel like these guys are pretty damn good against the Dark Elves. So firstly, they have really good splash attacks against infantry, so if you're shooting at Dark Shards, Blackguard and Nagaron, Harganeth Executioners, any sort of troop, pretty much the entire roster of infantry, they're going to be able to do a ton of splash damage, and in the late game when they do run out of ammo, they do run out of ammo relatively quick with only 16 shots. They're able to get in there in melee, they cause terror, they do pretty good damage overall with 365 weapon strength in their melee attacks, and yeah, I feel like they're just a really solid, annoying pick. So we have two of the dreaded salamanders here. We're going to see what they can do teamed up with a couple groups of the chameleon skinks. So we have a pretty big little harass force. We're going to be sending in the chameleons and the salamanders trying to get some damage before the fighting really starts. And just in case he tries to overload and maybe take them out with harpies or dark riders or any sort of cav units, I do have a couple supporting elements. So here we have the Coldland Spear Riders, and they're also going to be allied with some of these feral cold ones. So the clever girls, I'm basically just going to be using these guys as a bit of a distraction. I'm going to be just beelining them down the edge of the map and hoping that Professor Pone will allocate some resources to chase them, and hoping those resources will be a little bit more expensive than them. So we're going to see how they do, and if they do get a chance to get into the back line and get on Dark Shards, so be it. So for the rest of the build in the front line, it's going to be a combination of the red-crested skinks who are pretty good against Dark Elves, I would say. They're going to do okay against the chaff, like the Bleak Swords and the Dread Spears, because they have poison and okay combat stats. And against like Blackheart Corsairs and more elite troops, they can at least put a dent in them. They have decent weapon strength here at 26, 35 melee attack with poison, and having that poison is just so valuable in the entire front line. Even if the rest of your infantry are swords, sometimes the troops on the edge of the formation, so these guys right here will hit whatever's fighting next to them, so they can spread that poison pretty far and wide. So red-crested skinks, definitely very solid. On top of that, two groups of Saurus Warriors, and of course the cohort of Sotek here in the middle, which are the ROR of the Red-Crested Skinks. They refuse to die when you pop this. Now, they'll still lose HP, but they won't lose models. So typically, you want to wait till these guys get a little bit more beat up, like 50, 40% to pop this, and you'll get some pretty good value, and of course, they're unbreakable. In the back, Coldland Spear Riders, I have two groups in total. The Rev Crystal is going to be keeping this Blueberry afloat on his mobility scooter, and yeah, he's a Heavens Caster, so he has Banishment, he has Wind Blast, which is so good against Elf factions, Curse of the Midnight Wind, and Harmonic Convergence. That's pretty much it for my force here. It's going to be very heavily reliant on the double salamander, so we'll see how that goes. So for the forces of the Foul Dark Elves, who shall be led by Professor Pone. He's got two Bleak Swords here. In the center, he does have the Blades of the Blood Queen, so maybe he was expecting some elite infantry, some Temple Guard, and if I did bring Temple Guard, the Blades would be a super good answer, and nonetheless, they'll do good against swords and things like that. He's got Witch Elves, he's got some Blackguard against big dinos, two Blackguard as a matter of fact. He's got some Dark Shards, Malekith up in the skies, and double Harpies, and it looks like some Cold One Knights and Deep Vanguard. So guys, on that note, let's get this show on the road and see what happens. So the Salamander is going to be shooting in, and the first volley does come in, doing some pretty substantial damage to the Blackguard. Only kills one model, but actually takes a lot of HP off those guys. So we'll see how the next couple volleys do. The Skinks are going to be intercepted a little bit by the Bleak Sword, so those guys are probably going to force me back, but the Salamander is going to be thrown up here onto the Blackguard and getting some really solid value. The next shot is going to be going down on the Blades of the Blood Queen, but unfortunately that Salamander is not quite as accurate, and he does miss that attack. In the meantime, the Salamander is going to be scurrying away, trying to create some distance between themselves and the screening infantry, but they have pretty good range. These guys actually have 145 or 185 range, which is really insane. They're kind of like mini artillery pieces. So we're going to be shooting the Dark Shards and getting so much damage. Those Dark Shards get absolutely melted by the Salamanders. Brutal stuff right there. And in the meantime, I'm just positioning the rest of my force, trying to get an optimal position on my opponent. So I'm going to be trying to grab this high ground right here and just kind of squaring up to the force. So the chameleons are wasting a little bit of ammo on the Bleak Swords. Not the best play on my end, but I was like, hey, let's just have them shoot. At the very least, they're a bit of a distraction. I'm going to be kiting backwards and hopefully getting some more value here with these salamanders. So the Sallies are going to be shooting in, trying to finish off the Dark Shards. And it's pretty crazy. They actually outrange these missile units here with 185 range, but I wanted to just get those guys in the back as well. So I do take a volley from those Dark Shards, but you can see we're actually able to break one of the Dark Shards right here. So from here, we'll be switching on to either the other Dark Shards or continuing to hammer home on the Blackguard. So the volley's coming in. That one does hit those Witch Elves right in the face. They're at 69 models. That's what she said. And yeah, definitely not bad value. These Ancient Salamanders are very, very good, very, very solid skirmishing unit. I think they're quite a bit better than the Hunting Packs. Granted, Hunting Packs, I think, have their own matchups that they're going to be pretty good in. In the back, the Clever Girls are sweeping up and around, trying to feast on those Dark Shards in the back, and the Harpies are going to be jumping in. So the Harpies swoop in on my poor little skink buddies, and they're going to be getting attacked by these angry ladies. And we're going to see how it goes. So chameleons aren't pushovers in combat. They do have poison and can fight relatively efficiently. The red-crested skinks are going to be swarming in as well, and the Cold One Knights are going to be sent over there to kind of help out and clean up. And the Blueberry Slan is going to be surging forward with the help of this Pistolodon, who's going to be in for a bit of a tough fight. Blades of the Blood Queen are, very tough. Not the best defensive unit, but their offensive capabilities, even against like armored dinosaurs, isn't bad. They have really good AP values. But he's going to be okay. Gary's going to be holding him down. The Blueberry Slan is going to be using a fat, juicy Wind Blast here in just a moment. So the Wind Blast is going to tear through this formation. Brutal stuff. So the Blackguard and the Bleak Swords take a massive amount of damage here from the Bastiladon. But it looks like Malekith's going to be responding with a Chill Wind that basically just tickles the pickle of the Saurus Warriors. Now in the back, a Banishment does go down from the Blueberry Slan. It is going to be hitting those Dark Shards. They're just really trying to get rid of the armor-piercing missiles because the Sallies will be in good shape if I'm able to. I'm going to be shooting at Malekith a little bit with the Salamanders, but the Hunting Packs definitely seem to be a little bit better against like single entity large targets. And a Soul Stealer does go down to the Cold One Spear Riders, and I will be countercharging them at the last second here, so you can see they go in. A little bit delayed on that, but for the most part, they're in a very bad engagement. They got hit with Soul Stealer. Malekith is nearby, and Malekith's going to be coming for that Blueberry. So the Blueberry on his scooter is going to be trying to get away from Malekith, but he's a pretty powerful combatant. As far as stats, he's 54, 57, 520. The Blueberry Slan is going to pop the Aura of Pretzel to kind of save him, and I did pull back some of my Cold One Spear Riders who I had kind of fighting on this flank to help out. We have Skinks kind of poisoning Malekith, so we were able to get him off the Blueberry, but not without a cost. It certainly hurt quite a bit. There's going to be a Gaze of Malekith. That kind of makes sense, right? Gaze of Malice going down in the back on the Chameleon Skinks, who do have the Aura of Pretzel, not that it helps too much against that. But the Salamanders are in good shape. They're really tough to catch. There's not really too many Dark Riders or threatening elements, and even if there were, I have the Cold One Spear Riders, and they're able to actually shoot some of these guys in the back and really clean up these Cold One Knights. So quite happy about that engagement. The Blueberry Slan's in a bit of a pickle. He's going to be rolling on a scooter here. Rev Crystal is going to be going down from Gary, healing him up, but I don't have too many elements to kind of protect him, so I do have these Cold One Spear Riders that are going to have to rush over there. In the front line, I certainly didn't have anything. And the Saurus are still fighting, and the Rampage has been changed, of course. So when units do Rampage, Salamander is still just tearing into those Dark Shards, and the Shield of the Old Ones is going to be getting popped there. But the way Rampage works now is when units like Saurus Rampage, they actually get a melee attack and a charge bonus, so it's not like that bad anymore. It's very, I mean, they become quite a bit stronger with that extra melee attack. So Shield of the Old Ones, Cold One Knights are going to be pinning in Malekith. Valspar is actually pretty even. Its elite troops have been pretty durable, just pushing through my Saurus and my Red Crested Skinks. Like I said, my infantry line wasn't that good, so I really needed to kind of get some value out of my Salamanders, and they're doing pretty good for themselves. As far as kills, we got 50 on this one, the other one has 60, but the battle's, far from over, and there's still quite a bit of infantry left for the Dark Elves. So Malekith is going to be getting beaten down by these Cold One Spear Riders, who do have the Harmonic Convergence, and Gary's taking some fire. Gary's in a little bit of trouble, but he's going to be falling back with his Rev Crystal here, and in the back, the Blueberry Slan is going to be running from these Witch Elves. But this is why Salamanders are so cool. They're actually kind of a dual-purpose unit. In melee, they're not bad against these type of units. They cause terror, and they're going to be able to feast on the souls of these Witch Elves. They're just getting taken to town by these angry Salamanders, and they have pretty good armor values. They have 95 armor, and the Blueberry Slan's going to be coming back in, so the Witch Elves should get beaten down by the Blueberry and his two Salamander buddies. Now over here, the Cold One Knights get a little bit caught up. I believe they rampaged, and I just kind of forgot about them. So yeah, they were rampaging into the Blackguard over here, so a little bit of a tough situation. And the Saurus Warriors are going to be fighting and just grinding, and Saurus can last a long time against those type of troops. And some of these heroic Red Crested Skinks actually get into the back line and are able to flush out the Dark Shards. They're very, very quick. Much faster than most infantry units, but the Bleak Sword's probably going to be able to clean them up, but not before they generate some really good value. So Big Papa Malekith, a little bit trapped down right now. It looks like there's going to be a Gaze of Malice going down on the back on my Chameleon, so very, very nice cast right there. And I did try and get a banishment on his Blackguard, but Professor Pone was able to dodge that at the last second. Over here, the Blueberry Mage is going to just be rolling on a scooter, looking for some more opportunities to feast. He's probably going to be going after these Blackguard, and at this point, I pretty much just have a huge Death Star. The Salamanders are very fast, so Malekith is having trouble getting away. He has 69 speed. The Ancient Salamanders have 75, so I'm able to just kind of stick on his tail here, but he does get those screening Blackguard in to kind of hold me up for just enough time for Malekith to get away. So for Professor Pone right now, the only way that he could probably really get back in this game is probably to get the big old Malekith up, big old Malekith, as if he's like just like this noun, or you guys get what I'm saying. To get Malekith back up in the skies and swoop down and maybe kill my Slan. I mean, the Salamanders are going to be able to swoop in and do some damage, and you can see here I'm going to be pulling back because I know my Salamanders still have some pretty good ammo, so I'm like, let's take advantage of my speed. Why do I want to fight and grind with these guys? We'll just send in one group of beat up troops and get the Salamanders shooting, and from there we should be in pretty good shape. Malekith is going to be flying over. I do pop Shield of the Old Ones a little bit preemptively because I did think he was going to fly in there, but he decides not to. Probably going to be a breath attack coming down, and it looks like the breath attack is going to be going on the Slan. Thankfully, I do have that 22% ward save, which is going to be quite helpful against that breath attack. And from here, we're going to be getting the Salamanders shooting, and I believe I go after the Blackguard here in a moment. Blades of the Blood Queen, very, very elite troop here, still going to be coming back in. 13 leadership on those bad boys, going to be getting rode down by some of these Cold One Knights, and Gary's, he's got a couple charges left. I think I had like 3 or 4, so I have enough tools to heal up the Slan as well as the Salamanders. And the Salamanders going to be shooting here in a moment with their attacks, and man, I did not recall that they had such good range. 185 is pretty incredible. So they shoot in, get some really good splash attacks here in the Blackguard, and from there, that's probably going to be all she wrote for the Dark Elves. I don't think there's going to be too much going on. Maybe if Malekith has a Soul Sealer, that can be some witchcraft going on, but look at the damage on the Sallies. They're able to really just melt chaff. They can melt heavily armored infantry. I feel like against infantry-centric factions like Chaos, I feel like they're going to be incredibly powerful. You have to worry about like skirmishers and other units like that causing you problems, but I feel like Ancient Salamanders really going to be MVPs in the Lizardmen roster. They're quite a bit safer than the hunting packs because hunting packs will lose models over the course of a battle, and they're not quite as good against infantry. And these guys are like really powerful in melee, much more powerful than the hunting packs, and they do some serious work. So as far as the build goes, it was decent. I felt like it was a little bit all over the place, but for the most part, I think if you want to go salamanders, maybe just go with like even a heavier kiting build, right? Like get a bunch of chameleons and a bunch of cav units and really just kind of stress your opponent out. But I mean, there's so many different ways to play it. But I don't know. The red crested skinks and swords did pretty good. The blueberry slan was able to get some great value with his wind blast and his harmonic convergences and his curses. And yeah, I feel like it was a fun build for sure. Could use some improvement, but for the most part, I think it's a good starting place. And for the Dark Elf build, yeah, it certainly was prepared for some big dinosaurs. The Black Guard and those guys, I think, were expecting the Ark of Sotek and some of those heavy Bastillodons to come in. But thankfully, I didn't bring too many close quarters dinosaurs that had to go fight the Black Guard, because if I did, it would have been pretty messy. And I think that Professor Pone would have been able to outgrind me with Malekith and the Black Guard. So very well played to Professor Pone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Dinosaur vs. Dark Elf game. And we will see you guys next time. Take care.